here, and I'm going to try to figure out why the stuff that I have so far doesn't show anything, any subfolders or files. And I copied enough from the original one to expect at this time that you would be working. So I assume that based on the difference that I have there, there's probably something going on. And I don't understand very well how does it create the subfolders here. So I want to figure this out. I'm probably just going to step over and see what happens. Maybe try some stuff as well. So I'm going to spend just 1 hour today. Figuring out the size of this is kind of weird as well. I think I'm gonna continue to do the way that I'm doing, but it's kind of deceiving because of the window size. It changes a lot. But I think that's probably fine, the way that I have there now. And here, I think that I have some functionality already for the pop-up, but I think it's not showing when I click because I didn't add the events. Maybe this could be also something that is not correct, because when I right click here, it's supposed to show the options there on the menu, and it's not showing. And I think it felt a little bit unnecessary, but I changed or I moved a bunch of classes that they have for the dialogues that they use on the file system. I basically just changed it enough to compile. I'm not sure if it's working because obviously it's not working there it's not showing the menu, the pop-ups. So I don't know if they are working or not, but I felt kind of necessary, but I think I have to do this because otherwise I would be forced to compile the editor every time that I want to do it. So I think it makes sense to move the classes to the module that I have there, because then it's even though they are exactly the same. But maybe in the future as well, I'm gonna change. The other thing here that's kind of weird now that this is based on the last change that I made, is that when I go here, it's showing this. So I assume that probably I have because this is by default as well, which is not supposed to happen. Because here, like, it doesn't have, you can't go forwards. So I'm probably pushing to the history is something that I shouldn't be pushing. So I have to see what's up with that. And I'm probably gonna remove the history, but I'm not really sure about it as well, because like I don't think it's necessary to put history here, but maybe it is a good thing. Because on here is on the other icon here, the search. I guess I can move the filter as well to another dock. I'm thinking about now, like, what if I want to use the FileSystemDock on multiple different icons there? I wonder if I can do this. Because it would be a problem of how to synchronize both of them. The other thing that I had to do is move a bunch of icons to the editor. So there's a bunch of icons that they have on not the editor, to the default theme. There's a bunch of icons that they use that are from the editor and that don't exist on the default theme. So the way that you do this, they have a function that registers all the icons on the default theme. And every time you copy an icon to the folder where they have the other icons, which is going to be this one, it's on this path here, scene theme icons. It allows you to access the icon from this thing here because of the generic function that they have there. That's gonna loop over this folder here, and it's gonna initialize the icons. So in order to set the icon on the default theme, you just this is the fill or something, fill theme or something. But I just created a name there that I thought it made sense, which is the default icons for the new ones that I'm adding. And yeah, once you call the set icon, we're gonna be able to access them through the default thing. So I'm doing this, and then I'm changing the functions. Whenever they call get editor theme icon, I just change to get theme icon. It's basically this function that is going to initialize the default theme. And then base, I went over a bunch on the previous streams. Based on the way that they register everything there and the way that the theme works, then it's going to be able to find on the context from the default theme for the nodes. And that's how the function works. So yeah, I'm gonna step over. I'm not really sure how to go about doing this. So there's just a couple of things that I have to add, but I might be missing because I might be missing some stuff that's so the main ones that are not commented out here are the ones for the GUI because they're not called both on the notification or the constructor. But I'm just copying everything from the notification and constructor first, and then I'm gonna see if I missed something. But I'm probably gonna go over more. I'm gonna try to figure out based on the functionality. So because obviously I think that's the best way, because that way I try to avoid copying unnecessary things, which is what I'm trying to do. And a bunch of these functions as well, I had to remove stuff related to the editor, and also because they use resources and other in the scene functionality, which I'm probably not gonna use, or I'm gonna think about how to develop a different thing. But I want to think about this later once I have the other elements. So the other thing I had to do is that here I changed the original one is a singleton, and I changed so that it's not a singleton. So I'm doing based on a variable that I have there, which I'm not 100% sure if it is good or not. And then I had to change some dialogues because the dialogues use the singleton. So I had to set this pointer here on the dialogues. So this could be another reason why it's not working there. But I think it's something related to the directory class. So the way that it works, and now I understand how the file, I think it's file list or something. Yeah, this file system list class works on the thing. The reason why they have this is because it makes it a lot easier to set the values, because this class is going to inherit from item list, and item list already has the functionality. So it does make sense to use this one. And then they have the other one, which is the one for the folders. So the one for the folders is the main one that it is used on the other one that is the file system. And the file system is the main one that is going to have the functions that are going to update the directory. So that they're they scan the directory on each frame, and then they use the other file system dir our file system directory to hold the information for each folder. So that's basically how it works. So this one is more for functionality on the display side of things, the file system list. And the file system directory is the one, this one here that I changed to be on file system directory, is the one that holds the functionality for the folders in order to manage them on the actual file system. So like this is more back end, and the file system list is the front end. I think that's an easy way to put it. So I think that the way that it works in the beginning is you calls update tree. Update tree is the main function that is going to initialize the tree class. The tree class is the one that they're going to use to display these folders and files. So it's basically the structure of the thing, and also has it probably has, I'm not 100% sure, but almost 100% sure that it has the functionality to actually draw. So it's going to call display server and other classes to draw stuff on the screen. And also, I think that this might be the case. This might be the reason why they have the macro there, because as I was stepping over, I saw that on the dialogues and other stuff like that, they use the display server class, and the display server class has the implementation of the other macros. So there might be a connection there, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the case. But I think that's for me, that's the only thing that makes sense now. The reason why they would put the macro there in the beginning, which is the macro for threads. But I don't know if that makes sense or not. I think it's on the file system class that they do this. Yeah, this macro here basically. So the way that this macro works, which I said that is confusing before. Also, I figured out how to change the VS Code configuration so that it doesn't it make the code unusable code more readable than it was before. So basically all you have to do is set this thing here, and then it makes everything look the same. Which, in my opinion, so far I think is better. But it might be better on some situations than the other one. But the way that this works is that this is basically declaring a mutex, a variable inside of the class there. And this mutex is the one that is confusing because using this type here. So based on the way that it was before, this was like so I think if you put this, I think the default is 0.75. So it was looking like this. So this indicates that the code is not used, but this is the wrong hint because Godot uses scones, and I don't know how to integrate scones with VS Code yet. So like there's a mismatch between what VS Code thinks is happening and what's actually happening based on the build system, because Godot uses scones. So it seems that it's using this class here for the mutex, but it's actually using the other one, which is this mutex implementation here. So when declares a thread there, it uses this one. Whenever you're using threads, which means you're gonna define the macro, which is this threads enable here, which I think it is, yeah, it is enabled by default because it didn't put any flags or anything, just compiling normally. So this is defined by default, which means that this is the one this is the class you're gonna use because this is the one that has the threads. So what you're basically doing is declaring this is gonna be dependent on which compiler you're using, but the one I'm using right now is gonna be from the standard library. So it's using the recurse mutex from the standard library from this class here, which is this thing here. So basically the macro declares this mutex here instead of the class here. And then the other macros are gonna, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it declares the macro. No, this I think this calls this locks the threads whenever you call a function. So you put this on the beginning of the function, and then it locks the threads, this thread here, by passing the threads to this. But this part's the one that I'm not 100% sure if I'm understanding correctly how it works, because this one is probably because like it doesn't make a lot of sense unless you're using inheritance and the functions are being directly used based on the inheritance. I don't see how it would make sense for the display server, because now I know that display server definitely calls this macro here before on the functions. I guess I can look into this, but because the way that the display server works is based on, so in my case, display server Windows. So there's an abstract base class, which is the template for all the platforms that Godot supports. And then depending on which platform you build for, is going to use the derived class, which in my case, the display server Windows. Now, so here, for example, it does use this macro here. So I believe ChatGPT told me that this is initializing the thread, but I'm not really sure if that makes sense. Maybe it is actually. So initializes, but so this one is going to be the other, this mutex lock here. I forgot what explicit means. Yeah, but I think it's locking the thread. Yeah, it's probably locking the thread. I think that makes more sense. Because it receives the mutex here, which comes from the other class that was initialized there before, and then it is gonna initialize this lock here. Also unique lock. Yeah, so it's gonna initialize the std unique lock. So I'm gonna search for this. I'm gonna write down here so I can search for it later. But it might be the reason why they initialize there. Yeah, like I think this is more an issue with C++, but I really don't like this because it's just very complicated and hard to understand. So it feels that there should be ways that to make this like simpler to understand. But I think it's just an issue with C++ because of the way that C++ is designed. So like there's trade-off between power and like how confusing it is. But I think it's probably receiving, it's creating the other class based on this. But I'm not really sure if that locks the thing. Because I was gonna look into. Yeah, so this one, yeah, so maybe just they forgot, or either they forgot or they created a class in the beginning to use the thread safe class, and then they thought otherwise. Because I don't think that the thread that they actually declared there is related to this one. Because it uses another class. Which is a class that they created from the... But that class might use something similar. Yeah, we're not gonna pay too much attention to this now. I'm gonna go back to... Let's search for this later. More. I couldn't get an answer on the Discord, so... I assume for now that they forgot, or either they forgot to do this, or like they declared there, or they put this intending to use later, or there is a connection between that declaration there and the way that this instance of the class is gonna call the other classes. Don't remember if this is a singleton, but I think it is. If this class is a singleton, maybe there's a connection there. I'm gonna press F5, so I'm gonna try to get to the point where I have the editor open. Or maybe I'm gonna stop before or just by stepping over, I don't see like anything obvious, any reason why. I'm gonna put the thing there again. It might be because of the favorites, but I don't see any obvious reason why my thing there is not showing the children, and this one, like I think the biggest reason why this could be the case is because I changed this res here. So I created a function on mine that gets the root there based on the file system, which is the class that they use here. So, and then instead of using this path, I'm using that function. And the reason why is because the way that I'm thinking about designing is so that it can display any file system, not just the root of the project, which they use this special path here to determine. So it might be this reason why it's not showing, but I don't know for sure. Also, when it starts the thing for the first time, but I think it is here and is on some loop there. That's yeah, I think it's this loop here. I'm gonna put a breakpoint here because it's the only place where it makes sense that it would add the other items there, so the subdirectories. But I'm not really sure. So this could be the main difference could either be something that I didn't add yet to the other one, or is something that I removed. And I think that both situations is probably something going on here on this part, because this is the one that is supposed to be getting the subdirectories, I think. So the P there is the file system directory class, I think. Might be because I removed the. So I have to see on the one that I have there as well. So I still have some here. Oh, I forgot. So I was gonna write the names of the files just to, as I step over there, if I can find here the name. So maybe I'll go, yeah. So this one is the directory that comes from the other one. So it gets the file system from this, and this one initializes as a variable, and I change the name of the variable as well, and the name of the function. Yeah, I'm getting from here the root. And so this one is initialized here and on the constructor and somewhere else, I think. That's on the constructor. So this, as far as I understand right now, is the class that is going to hold the state for each folder. And when I think it creates, the first time that it creates the other subfolders is a scanning function or something like this. And it basically creates a linked list between them. So it's going to pass this to this one, which is the root in the beginning. So this is the root. And gets the information from here. So I should be looking for the name, this D name here. Just see whenever it is different than. Sure if it makes sense to put here. Did I get to this point? I'm here. So, right. So how does it get this subdirectory? So this one gets from the tree item. So the tree is the class that creates the visualization of the thing. So this one is going to be, so this is the root that is created on the update tree. So it passes here. When it passes here, I believe it creates the first child. Yeah, create child, and I think this one is going to create first child in the beginning. maybe not. I do remember there is something like that. But this one is going to be based on the visualization. So it's a subdirectory, the first subdirectory on the visualization. The thing that is weird is how does it differentiate the files. So maybe it uses the tree for the files and the file system list for the file. Use the tree for the directories and the file system list for the files. Because we're gonna set the thing as the with the so it's just, and this one is gonna get from the other one, and it's based on the index. But how does it get in the beginning if it doesn't have any? So that's why I think that the first time that it actually creates the thing is when it scans when it's scanning column, the scanning function is gonna traverse the directory, I think. So probably the main difference is gonna be on the file system class and not on the FileSystemDock. So this can get both files and directories. So file name. So here is gonna create the file list. Yeah, so here is linking the functionality of the editor, the file system directory, which is the thing that manages the functionality like the backend with the front end. So I think that this does create both editors and files. And then it uses the other one to create the structure. So it uses the file system directory for the structure and the tree and tree item for the visualization. So I'm just gonna continue there because I think so. One of the main things that I want to see. So at the beginning, I assume that it's not gonna have anything. So here it's gonna create the. Oh no, it creates on the. No, but what's that update tree? So how is it possible? Oh no, it creates here. So when it calls here for the first time, it's gonna be no pointer. Then it's gonna allocate memory. Then it passes this one to this. So it might be because of this, because I removed this. Anything related to favorites I removed from the one that I have there. But I think that's unlikely to be this. So just skipping. So here should be empty. Yeah, so it's the first time, so it's empty. And this is gonna have the thing there. So this is the first one. The first one I think is working because it is showing the root there. It's only on the other ones that it doesn't work. So I should pass because it doesn't have anything yet. I guess this is what I need to pay attention to is when is the first time that it's going to actually create the subfolders. I think that this is the problem that I have there. So I'm just gonna press a 5. gonna remove this thing. So I'm gonna go faster to see. Should probably pass 5 again. Because now I have the breakpoint there as well. So it doesn't go yet. I'm gonna press the 5. Wait, file list. So this one is interesting as well. This one is one of the functions that I think is different because I had to change because of the roots. It's passing the root here for the first time. And it's basically this part here. I think the way that I'm doing now is based on a variable, but it should be the same because I'm initializing the variable, which I think is current root there. I'm gonna put this here. So it's current root there. That's basically this variable here. And so now I'm just using this, but it should be the same, I think. I guess file system path. So I guess we'll see here. Put a breakpoint here. Do I have this directory difference? Okay, different than root directory. Okay, whatever. Shouldn't do anything. Let's see if I can find the moments where somebody just gonna press a file again. It's weird that it calls a bunch of times in the beginning because it's not doing anything. I think that probably the first time that it's gonna actually, yeah, so it's gonna be here when it actually adds, I think. Either here or the other scanning functions that it has. So this one starts the thread for the first time. There's another part that is kind of confusing. I'm gonna go back to putting, maybe I want to put, just so I can have a difference, puts 0.9. It is kind of hard to read when it is the other way. So this is the class that I was talking about. I think this is a Godot class, and I'm not 100% sure. I think it is not related to the other, the mutex there. Yeah, it shouldn't be related, even though is teacher gets the tron. I'm gonna skip this one. So it's gonna. I don't think that this function does anything. The other one. It puts this on the. So it's gonna run the callback function on the thread, which is the other function there. The thread func. But I think that this one is just for keeping track. Oh no, this one does. So there's another one that is for keeping track of the progress, but this one seems sure. I'm gonna put. But I think the reason why I took it out is because this runs every frame. I'm pretty sure. So it might be like this might be the problem that I have there. Not sure. Because it might be something to do with singletons and this thing here. And I'm pretty sure that the scan file system, this function looks for changes. But I don't know if it is going to create the. So it parses from. This is another thing that I removed. So I removed the functionality based for the cache. Because probably I'm gonna do something different. And I just wanna think about this later, the cache stuff. So I wanna. So I think it's easier when it comes to the cache to just use the roots of the thing and then initialize everything from the root. I wanna decouple the functionality. I, Probably later if I'm gonna add stuff when it comes to files and doing stuff with files, it's gonna be related to the OS. So use OS to execute stuff. Start everything from the roots, the cached roots. But don't remember if this creates anything. Yeah, so this one calls the other one, and this is basically the class that they use. This one is also the same pattern as the other ones. It's an abstract base class. So the class that actually uses when you have the compiled version for Windows is going to be the access Windows, and then I assume the other platform is going to be the same. There is a derived class that handles the other. So this might be like one of the places I think. It's probably related to this function because this, as it looks like here, it is the one that is gonna add the directories. Yeah, so it's something related to this function, I think. This one updates the directories and files on this class, and then the other one uses this to create the sub items or subdirectory tree items on the other one. So it has to be this. And I removed a bunch of stuff, I think, from this one. I should see if I can. Not sure if it's gonna. So I'm gonna continue step in here. And this kind gets kind of annoying because of the, I think it's because of the threads that is doing this. It goes through random places. I'm gonna put a breakpoint after the cache. So it's already have here. So now it pushes the first file. So it is for sure this function here. It's the first time that it's adding the files there. Actually, it could be the other ones because it could be the case that I have the same files, but it's not showing. But I don't see why that would be the case. So I think it is this. It might be related to the pointers there, because the other class is singleton and the way that initialize the threads there. So it's passing with this, but I don't know. I don't see why using like not using a singleton would be any problem because this should be a reference to the class instance. I think that the data there that receives as an argument to this function is going to be this the reference to the class, and then it's going to call the function there. So it has the directory here and the files here. I'm just gonna go. So I guess this is the first level. So for each, I think that yeah, each level is gonna like this class is gonna contain the information for each level. So the directories and the files on the level, and then as it goes in depth on each one, it's going to create a new one, and then it's going to link them with a linked list. Also, it's creating a tree based on the linked list relationship of the levels, or it's like, or it's just a linked list that like it's not really a tree. It's just like vertical and horizontal. So each level gets the current level, and then as it goes into depth. Yeah, but it depends on the way that it is gonna be a tree because when it backtracks. Let me put here. Now I should see whether or not it's gonna. This is the first time that it's gonna go over when you're supposed to have the subdirectories. I think that the only thing that makes like sense is that it creates here. Yeah, so now you should have the size here, the subdirectories. But it's counting the subdirectories. It's gonna loop over all the subdirectories. Kind of confusing because of the reverse, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. So after it creates this, like this should be the main difference there from the one that I have. Because when it calls the function recursively, it should create the 3 items for each one, and then it should display. And I don't think it might be a file, yeah, but if it was a file, then it should show the subdirectory folder that I have there. So probably what I should do is just press F5 a bunch of times and see if I can get to the class that I have there. Because it might not, but I think that it has to initialize to show on the editor. If it doesn't, I have the game version now, so I can go directly on the debug the game. Yeah, so this is the subfolder. I'm pretty sure that I understand how it works now. I'm just gonna press F5 a bunch of times, see if I can get to my class now. So either initialize before or doesn't work because I'm going over. I was going over this project instead of the other one because I was thinking about moving or changing the folders and I didn't want to fuck up the other one. Yeah, so I'm just gonna close. So I'm gonna start again from the other. And open here and I'm going to write down this one subfolder and one file name that I have on the directory there. I'll change this. And the easiest way to see what is going on is to get to uh, this can whatever. This can deer something. Scan new dir. It has to be this function. Just gonna make sure that. Yeah. So I'm gonna write down here. I basically have the same folders. Sidebar, icons, doc, study. The other weird thing is that it's not showing the arrow here. So, but the question is how can I figure out? It shouldn't be shouldn't be anything related to the tree, I think. This gas editor thing, Michael. So this is the function that they're gonna use to get the icons from the editor. So I should look into which one. Maybe deleted, or either I deleted or I didn't get the correct one. This is for the pop-up that they have there. It should be on the thing that removes. It should be on when it's creating the folders. So obviously I don't think it is this one, or this one. Hmm. Oh, so it might be this thing here. Yeah, I think it was probably that. Hmm. I think it, yeah, so I removed the stuff related to the files as well. So maybe the other function is working. But this is related to the, maybe I got confused because of this. Oh, but I think it is related to the favorites. Yeah, but maybe I removed too much stuff. Maybe not. Maybe it's just related to the favorites. It might be because of this though. No, I think yeah. So based on this, it's probably just related to the favorites. It still could be that, and like they just structure this way, but the thing is looping over the favorite path. So yeah, I think it is probably not this. So far, there is nothing that makes me think that I might have missed because if it was like it should be setting the icon using the get icon whatever. It could like the only functions that could be are the ones that have these conditions here because I simplify, but I think that like when it comes to the icon, it shouldn't be anything related to this. So I'm not really sure because it should be based on the name. Because one thing that I can do is go over. I'm gonna do this off stream probably. So go over all of this and then I can look for websites where you can visualize SVGs. So I'll write down the names that I have here, the ones that I don't think are obvious, like folder and the other folder and file. So the other icon names, I can search for the SVG and see if they look like the arrow there. Because I'm trying to figure out why. One of the things that I'm trying to figure out is why it's showing the arrow on this one and on mine it doesn't show anything. The other thing is that it could be something to do with the layout or some node that I'm not initializing the constructor, but it should be directly related to the files and folders. So it should be either update tree or create tree. I guess I have, maybe it is the same. I think these ones are, because I don't remember if I just did them. But there is one, where is it, GUI tree something. Yeah, GUI tree arrow, right? Yeah, so should be another name. I'm gonna close this, go stop over. Probably what I'm gonna do is write down the names of the icons that I think are not obvious, and then search on a website to see how they look like, to see if I can find by searching manually what is the thing that I'm missing. But it might be, it's probably a place where it's not obvious. That's like it's not using the editor icons because I believe I removed some of those functions or I changed them. Just try to simplify there. So it might be in one of those places. This one is not that big of a deal as the other one. The other one's more important. Figure out why it's not showing the other files on my thing. So maybe if I try to debug, yeah, that's the last thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to go over the game directly, just see if it's gonna put the breakpoints there. It's weird that it didn't do anything. It didn't stop on the thing there. It might be just because it's not calling. It could be that. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put a breakpoint here, and then I'm gonna go over this again to see if it's gonna stop on this one. Because it might be the case that it is just not calling yet because I don't have a function that makes it call. But it could be because of the threads. I forgot which one. There's also not some here is on the VM file system. So this is the function that I wanna see from my thing. It looks like it's not calling this. Put scan here. It might be this stuff here. Might be this. Because the first time that it calls on the other one is after this stuff here. So it might be something to do with the singletons, and so I'm gonna have to spend some time trying to figure this out. The threads are confusing to me because of the other issue that I was saying there. It's like I'm not 100% sure if I'm missing something from C++ or the connection or whatever, something that is happening under the hood for whatever reason when it comes to the macro there, or if they just put that macro and then they forgot either they forgot or just put there to develop later, or and then, you know, like they have the declaration of the variable, but they're not using the variable. But I think it might be the case that um, when you declare the macro, because I think that it should be a similar pattern to the GD class thing. That's what would make the most sense to me. So basically, this macro here that is used all the time on all the classes should register. So whenever they use macros on a class, usually it's because of that. So I assume that on the other classes there is some connection that I don't understand very well. And by them declaring the macro inside of the class, they declare the variable, which is a thread. And then because they declare this thread here, whenever they use the macro on the methods of other classes that are related to the class where they declare this, is gonna lock the threads, or yeah, it's gonna lock the thread with the function of the mutex, which is declared or defined on that templated class that I have. So this one locks the methods, and this one lock the threads, lock and unlock. Oh, I commented out. I think the reason why I did this is because I didn't have the function yet, and then maybe I forgot to put. So maybe this is the reason. So let me see. I'm gonna try to compile. I don't remember why, but probably it was because of that. As I was copying stuff, I didn't have the function yet. Then I probably decided to comment out so I can do it later, and then I forgot. But the weird thing is that, like, as far as I understand, I think it should call this again at some point. So I think it's just the first time that it initialized the thread there, but maybe. So I think it goes here after the first time. So this is the variable. I just changed the name as well to FileSystemDock because I think it makes more sense. Since I'm using FileSystem already on the FileSystemDock as the name of the variable, I decided to do FileSystemDock here. Should be more clear. But it's basically the same thing. It's going to initialize there on the constructor. So I think after the first time that it goes over that function. So it calls this for the first time, then it sets up the thread, then after the first time. But maybe it's just returning because this is gonna return true if the thread already started. So maybe it only goes here when you're not using threads. Yeah, that would make more sense. Yes. Oh. So because this is true, then it's never gonna go here. So this should be the main one that calls the scan there. And the scan is the one that initializes the directories. So maybe that was the problem. Let me make sure that. Yeah, so now is here. If it doesn't work, either way, I'm just gonna stop streaming after this, and then I'm gonna continue to copy the stuff and put the functions there on the class until I have the starting points. And I'm just gonna do enough so I have the basic functionality, which is just for opening a file, I'm gonna have to do other stuff because they only have options to open a text file. So it still doesn't work, so obviously it should be something else. So I'm gonna have to go over with the debugger and try to see what's going on. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop streaming here. I'm gonna continue to put the functionality on this class. And I'm gonna get to the point where I just have the basic functionality for this stuff here. If then after cutting out the stuff that I'm not gonna use, then after this I'm probably gonna focus on the other docs. And then once I have like everything, then I'm probably gonna go back to this. Yeah, I think I might before I do the other stuff, I think I'm gonna have to connect this one with this one. Probably that's the last thing that I'm gonna do when it comes to this FileSystemDock. Because obviously when I click here and I select a folder, this is gonna emit a signal, and then I need to connect this signal with this thing here, so that's I update the file system directory class to have the new directory. So I'm gonna have to see how to make that happen, and also how to save that on a config file so that I can cache this stuff. And then I'm probably gonna have to add the functionality again to. I'm gonna look into the way that they do the cache as well, and then I'm going to try to change for the way that I'm trying to do, which is basically gonna be check to see if the cache exists first. If it doesn't, just use the default path, which is just the RAS. Which I'm probably gonna have to change the name as well. So instead of using RAS, I'm gonna see if I can get the actual path on the OS, the full path to display. But maybe I shouldn't do anything actually. Yeah, I should display the other element. So I'm gonna have to do another GUI element to show just an option, a button with an option to open the folder. And that's probably what I'm gonna do as the default. I'm not gonna show the rest there. But I'm gonna focus on fixing this stuff first. So not sure when I'm gonna stream next, but I'm gonna continue to do this, follow the steps here. So see you next time.